Hi guys, this is Jody. I just wanted to hop on real quick and do a quick video on how to use the material editor toolbar in VRay for Sketchup. I have not been able to find a whole lot of information out there about these different tools, so we're just going to go through them real quick and talk about what each of these buttons does and show you a couple examples of how to use them. To start off, I'm going to go through the ones that are highlighted that you're seeing in black, and the other ones are grayed out at the moment. This very first toolbar, and I'm going to be honest with you, this very first button, it's a toggle button on and off. I'm not entirely sure what this particular tool does. If you look at the VRay documentation, it says enables the use of faces for viewport widgets. Only lines are used when this option is disabled. I don't really know what that means. If there's anybody out there that has some information on what this particular button does, please feel free to leave some notes in the comments. I'd appreciate that, and probably other people would as well. So for now, we're just going to leave it toggled on and just kind of ignore it. The second one, if we look at this one says hides VRay lights, fur proxies, infinite planes, and mesh clipper widgets from the viewport. So what we're looking at here, if you come over, I've got this sphere that has some fur mapped onto it, and if we look at our render here, you'll see that it's got fur on it. So what this particular tool does, if we toggle this one on and off, it takes away those little icons from our viewport so we don't see them. I think this is mostly for if you're going to be exporting things to layout, then you don't have that extra information on your scene that isn't really necessary when you're exporting things. So we'll leave that one toggled off for right now. And this last tool on the end here that we're going to look at is a kind of a selection tool. So I just want to show here, I've got this group, and if you look at my group hierarchy, I've got 3 spheres grouped together, then I've got 2 spheres grouped together, and then I've got my medium sphere and my small sphere. And each of these groups has a material applied to the entire group. So if you look at this one, the whole group, everything has got the yellow mapped to the whole thing. If I click inside, I've got purple mapped to this group. If I click inside this one, I've got green mapped to this group over here in my entity info. And if I click inside and I click on this and I look at just the one face has that yellow on it again. And in fact, let's change that so that it's a different color so that it's not confusing. Let's make that red. So what this tool on the end is going to do is allow us to select things inside the group hierarchy. So if I click this button and I get this little icon with the arrow and the eye, and I'm going to hover over these different elements, you'll see that I get this indicator that is the little square in the middle is actually selecting a face, and then it's showing the hierarchy of that particular group. So if I hover over one of these items and then I hold the shift button down, I can move my cursor to these different rings. And so right now I'm in the center ring here, which is the face that I've hovered over. If I hold my shift button down and I move my cursor out to the next ring, now I'm selecting just this group in this hierarchy, so which is the purple, the medium sphere that's been painted purple. If I hover out one more time, then I'm selecting the next group in the hierarchy, and if I go all the way out, then I've got the whole group. So I can hover here and select which group I want, and then I've selected this whole group. The rest of these tools in here are only going to be activated when you've actually got either a face or a surface or a group selected. And what it's going to do is allow us to map a material in different fashions. So this very first one, this is actually a, what this one does is clear the texture off of something. So we'll look at that one in a minute. But this first two cubes right here, these are cube mapping tools. So what they're going to do is we're going to pick this sphere, and then we're going to select one of these VRay materials and add that to our scene. And then we can apply to selection. And so what this is going to do is, if we select either of these cubes, we'll pick this first one. This is going to show this texture mapped as a cube onto this shape. The first cube is repeating the texture, and the second cube is showing the full, just one repeat. If we select either of these circles, we're going to be looking at the same process, the multiple repeats or one repeat, but it's going to sphere map it instead. So there's sometimes some weird things that happen. It's not a perfect tool, but for the most part it's pretty good. So this is showing multiple repeats, and then if we click on this one, we're going to see it just as one repeat. And then, like I said, this tool right here, this is going to clear that texture off of that material, or that material off of that surface. So just to give you an example, we'll show you, I've got these chairs here. We'll go ahead and we'll apply this material. And there's multiple ways that you can apply materials to things. I'm going to use the paint bucket here. Now, if we box map this, you can see things straighten out pretty good. Again, it's a little bit strange. Every now and then you've got some weird stuff going on. This is a chair that has been modeled in SketchUp using sub D. So sometimes things get a little bit funky. We have no control over how this stuff is going on here. If we try the sphere mapping on that, we can see that doesn't really work for this particular tool, for this particular piece of geometry. So we'll go back to the box mapping. So like I said, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. If you're looking at the chair from far away, chances are you're not going to see, though you're seeing that on the edges more than you are on the sides. Let's try a different material. Let's do this plaid one. Pretty good. If you wanted to change the scale of the texture, you can go into the edit menu for that particular material. This is, let's make it bigger, so let's maybe make this 15 inches. Or even more, let's make it 25 inches. That's how you're editing this material in terms of its scale. If we were to select this one and let's box map it with one repeat, you'll see kind of the difference there. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that makes it easier for you to use the mapping tools in VRay. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Thanks a lot, guys.